All right, John should hear you now. Hey, John, you hear us?
It says Charleston, South.
Yes, sir. Gotcha.
All right, sounds good. All right, now you're online. You're unmuted. You're unmuted. Unmuted. Shh, you're unmuted.
Well, now we gotta wait on Rabel.
All right, go
No,
ahead.
Now we gotta wait on Rabel.
going to Brian.
Hey, you don't have to wait on him, go.
With
I'll tell him you start, you can start.
Doc is paid.
Yeah, doctor's pay. Start the clock.
Doc is paid.
Pretty serious about getting the plat signed.
I heard you got it.
Kayla sent me an Instagram.
Let me take your name with your.
Kayla did? Yeah. You know what? She's not nice. I mean,
You sent me an Instagram about signing some plats.
Oh, no, I was, if it's urgent. Not nasty, I'm sorry.
all right, we're gonna get started before Joey gets in trouble. Go ahead and call the City of Centerton Planning Commission meeting for July 2nd, 2024 to order with a roll call.
Joey Engel,
Here.
Devin Murphy,
Here.
Craig Langford, Jerry Harris, John Sessoms.
Here.
Ben Lewis, Tony Davis, Brandon Swoboda,
Here.
Jeff Safer.
I'm here. All right, first thing on the agenda this evening is the approval of the minutes from 6/4 of 2024.
I'll motion to approve the minutes from 6/4/24.
Second.
Motion is second. Is anyone opposed? All right, next on the agenda is the ratification of the admin approvals. Looks like we got a couple of home occupations, a photography business, voiceover, botanicals, making some products, and then we have a track split. Any questions or comments from staff or any of the commissioners in regards to the admin approvals?
This is Joey. I'll make a motion to approve the administrative approvals.
Second.
Motion, second, anyone opposed? All right, under new business this evening, we do have a public hearing. There's a conditional use 2411 for David Electric mobile food truck. That's at 226 North Main Street. It is on C1 and it looks like Rick and Gail Tyner are the owners and the applicant's Joe David. Is the applicant here this evening?
Let's see.
No. You want to just give us a little overview of what you guys are trying to do or what you want to do? If you. As much as we'd like to be able to hear you back there, we can't, so. You just give us your name and what you guys are wanting to do for us real quick.
Bethany Davitt, we are proposing to live in a mobile food vendor. More than likely a trailer, a tow behind.
Did we do this years back with the ice or
I let it lapse, and so we were trying to renew it, and so really we're just trying to reestablish it.
Are you gonna put it in the back? So you've had a food truck there before, right? In the
Yes, sir.
back part of it? Is that where this one's?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, cool. Thank you.
Yes, I think a couple years ago, this came over for, it was a parking and grease trap exposure that we looked at. So is this the renewal?
I think it's gonna end up being new, John.
Okay, all right.
Sarah, first time.
It's David Electric Food Truck, 226 North Main Street on 0.27 acres. It is a central business district and they met public notice requirements. There is no food truck that's currently scheduled. The applicant's requesting conditional use for future use. This property previously had a conditional use in 2020 to allow for a mobile food vendor at this location that expired 7/21/2020. The property is zoned Central Business District C1, which represents an area of intensive commercial use, including retail stores, banks, offices, and the like. It is the retail core of the city. Due to the permanency of the existing structures and the nature of this district, structures may, subject to planning commission approval, be built to the front and in most cases side property lines. The property is surrounded by Central Business District zoning. To the south of the property is a vacant building, and to the west of North Main Street is Memco Inc. And the old city hall is located north of the property. The property can be accessed from North Main Street via an existing drive or parking lot attached to David Electric. We received confirmation that customers of the food truck have permission to park in the Bemco gravel lot. Davit has also noted that customers can park on their lot and use Bemco as overflow parking. Public parking along Main Street is also available. That's in front of Old City Hall that customers can use as well. The proposed hours of operation are 8 AM to 8 PM Sunday to Saturday. There will be 1 to 3 employees on site at a time. There's no signage that's currently proposed. A sign permit will be required by the Public Works Department prior to installation of the signage. The entire property is within the floodway and there will be no changes to the elevation of the property and no permanent construction. The base flood elevation of 1254.28 is approximately 2 feet higher than the ground elevation of 1252.9. In recent years, flooding has been minimal in this area and any items not anchored will need to be removed during large rain events. The term of approval is determined by the Planning Commission and they are requesting 3 years at this time. Parking, they have permission to use Bemco gravel lot for overflow. Our current off-street parking code and the mobile food vendor ordinance do not have specific requirements at this time, and any parking requirements would be at the Public Commission's discretion for this additional use. The hours of operation will be 8 AM to 8 PM Sunday through Saturday. However, days and hours of operations may vary from tenant to tenant, and operating hours are to be determined by the Planning Commission. A fire inspections required prior to receiving the business license and occupancy, and they'll have to go through Paul Higginbotham to schedule an inspection. There will be 1 food truck in the designated location at a time, and no additional accessory structures are allowed, such as fencing, storage, decking, etc. The food truck location is 15 feet from the structure and 30 feet from the corner of the structure. Vendor or the tenant shall be responsible for maintaining the premises in good, clean, and unhazardous conditions. The applicant is encouraged to provide ADA accommodations, owners to accept liability if non-ADA compliant. The conditions of approval are shown in your packet.
Is anyone opposed to the 3-year request? No. And then is anyone opposed to taking I'm gonna say take the time restrictions off? Would be my recommendation, otherwise they're gonna be back and forth between staff and us, and I just think that there's other avenues in place if it becomes a nuisance that it could be controlled. That's just my opinion. What do you guys think?
I'm okay with that.
Becomes an issue and.
Yeah, I mean, it's a conditional use. All conditional uses can be brought back to us, right, if there is an issue.
You'll still want to cap it with the same with like our construction and everything else is a 10 PM minimum and a dusk earliest. So I mean, at a minimum that regardless. Because no matter what food truck goes in, which you want them even open after that 10, but again, with coffee, dusk, I'm really not really worried about.
It's also a commercial area, correct?
Yes.
I mean, we don't cap what time,
Casey's.
well, you got Casey's, but then you also have the event center. You got the event center next door, right? I mean, we don't cap it, do we? Or what time they can be open? I don't know.
I'm good with not.
You do it now.
Yeah, I'm okay with.
Was this their request? Was your request 8 to 8?
Vendor for sure.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I'm good with it. Let's just see how it goes.
Gosh.
Yeah.
John? You took a nap, I guess.
I couldn't get it turned off, so I can look. Yeah, I don't see a time restriction either.
Okay, thank you.
What about long-term plans with the city lot right there? Is there anything on the books that would
We don't own that long.
to the north?
That's all owned by Benco.
Oh, okay. All right then, solves that problem. I think there's plenty of parking.
Yeah, I think. All right, let's go ahead and open up to the public. I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
I make a motion to open up the public hearing, CU 24-11.
Second.
Motion and a second to open the public hearing. Is anyone opposed? We're now open to the public. If there's anyone that wishes to speak, questions, comments, any concerns about the conditional use for a mobile food truck at 226 North Main Street, we'd ask that you come to the podium, name, address, and any questions or concerns. Second call. Third and final call for anyone that wishes to speak.
Joey, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for conditional use 2411.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any additional questions or comments from any of the commissioners?
So there was something here before? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, there was actually a food truck in the back that was back there before. I don't remember what the name of it was at the time, but it was a really good food truck. And then up front, they've had I think they had a snow cone or something at one point. So they've had two different, mobile food trucks over there, before it expired.
Were there any issues with parking or traffic or waste disposal or anything of that nature before?
Not that I'm aware of.
There were no issues with the one that was there previously.
I mean, they were there every day too, so.
It was right next
They're
to
the
us,
same.
so it's very handy. We're like, oh, yum, food. It was good.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the two others operating right up the street. They don't have any services either. So I think it's a good spot down there, I think, with the downtown. If there's no other questions or comments, that I would entertain a motion for the conditional use 2411 David Electric Mobile Food Truck at 226 North Main Street with a term of 3 years and no specified hours of operation at this time.
Yeah, I'll motion to approve conditional use 2411 David Electrical Mobile Food Truck without any restrictions. Oh, for 3 years. right?
Joey, a second.
Motion and a second. Samantha, if you do a roll call for me, please.
Davis,
Yes.
Brendan Swoboda,
Yes.
Ed Lewis.
Yes.
John Sessoms. John Sessoms. He unmuted, but it didn't come through.
Sorry. Yes. Can you hear me?
Devin Murphy,
Yes.
Joey Engel,
Yes.
Jeff Safar.
Yes. Thank you. Good luck. All right, next on the agenda this evening is Development 2310, Flyway Crossings at Centerton, preliminary plans and adjacent street agreement. It is at 447 Kimmel Road, zoned R3 multifamily, 18.5 acres, 170 dwelling units, / planned unit development. Applicant is Flyway Ventures. It's the applicant here to give us an overview.
Commissioners, thank you. My name is Chris Woodard, CEO of Flyway Ventures. Got a 171 unit built for rent concept that was approved rezoning perspective back in, I believe, November of 22 is when we received the approval for that. This is a mix of cottages, detached cottages that range from 1-bedroom duplexes, which you see in the yellow, to 2-bedroom duplex, or excuse me, 2-bedroom detached and 3-bedroom detached dwellings. The 2-bed and 3-bed detached dwellings all have rear entry 2-car garages. The 1-bedroom duplexes have on-street parking there. You can see there on the it's the south side of the property, but the left side and the yellow there on the screen. The purple and dark red are townhomes. That's what those represent. Those are, again, 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom townhomes. The lighter purple, 3-bedroom clusters are, or excuse me, 3-building clusters are 2-bedroom townhomes. The dark red is what I'll call it. Those are 4-unit clusters that are 2-bed in the middle, 3-bed on the end caps. Those are also rear loading access garages. You'll also see for the PUD requirements and our intention for the site, a lot of green space pocket parks that are militarized, as well as a clubhouse, pool, dog park, walking trails, numerous amenities for the residents. This is intended to be a gated community as well, which you, as you see on Kimmel Road on the right side of the screen, north side of the property, which provides access to the leasing office there in the white. That's also where the mail kiosk is for the residents. We think this is a unique and high quality build for rent project that we're excited to bring to Centerton here in Centerton, and happy to answer any questions. Just so you guys know too, a little background on us. We're local developers here. We live here. My kids go to school in the Bentonville School District. They'll eventually go to Gridley and Bentonville West until they rezone us again. We're excited about this project. We don't build anything that I don't want to drive my kids by, because one, they want to drive by and see what we do on a daily basis. So it's important to note that we care about what we're building. I imagine some of these people here in the audience today probably have questions about what we're building. But again, provide a quality product, and one that's really going to be exciting to see come to fruition, and hopefully benefit the city as well, not only from a tax-based perspective, but provide some much needed housing, and as well as patrons to the eventual new downtown Centerton core that's shown on the future use plan as well. So happy to answer any questions. Thank you for your time.
Do you have any renderings? I didn't see any in our packet.
That's what I was about to ask.
Yeah.
Yes, so Diane's got the leasing office pulled up because that was a requirement with the PUD. I have all of the others I can drop in the Dropbox for you if you want to look.
Oh, no, that's fine. We can do
Yeah,
that.
so, and to be honest with you, that is the leasing office is the interior is just redesigned of a unit that we're gonna have on the site. So you can see it's the materials are a combination of hardy or fiber cement and brick skirting as well. So it's more of a, like we said, a cottage feel to that point for the detached units. The townhomes as well will be of similar style and nature, obviously 2 stories versus the 1 stories cottages.
So you said this is gonna be a gated community,
Yes, sir.
so the roads are private?
The roads are private.
You know, come back.
Thank you.
Pamela?
Yes, so the applicant is requesting preliminary approval of development plans to develop a multifamily development at 447 Kimmel Road. The development will include 171 dwelling units, including single-family detached and attached units. The property does have a PUD that was approved November 15th of 2022. The property is surrounded by undeveloped property zoned as A1. To the east, there are a number of subdivisions, including Blossom Hills, which is zoned R2, Southwind subdivision, which is zoned R3 SF, Featherston Village West, which was zoned R3 SF but had a PUD, Featherston Village Original, which was also R3 SF with a PUD, the Dunes at Prairie Valley, which are apartments, and those are zoned R4 MF with a PUD. And then the northeast corner, Featherston Village West, has a little commercial area. So with the PUD, there were some specific requirements they had to meet for the ownership. Property has to be owned in a single corporate ownership at the time of filing. Right now it's owned by Flyaway Ventures, and there are no subdivisions in this development. They will have to complete a lot combination. They'll do that at the end of the construction to combine the lots, dedicate right of way, and dedicate all their easements instead of doing a plat now and a plat later. For the density, they were limited to 179 residential units. They are proposing 171 with this development, so they meet that UD requirement. That's 9.3 units per acre for those counting. The architectural treatments, the PUD just required that it meets our code. Those were provided with the PUD. So the facades facing the public right of way have articulations, and the material requirements were met. The only building that's actually viewable from the public right of way is that leasing office. And the front of the building faces Kimmel Road, so it has the articulations that it needs. For open space, they couldn't dedicate, or they had to dedicate at least 25% open space. And per their current plan, they're dedicating 5.33 acres, which is 29% open space. And then for their amenities, they had to include a clubhouse facility, pool area, dog park, and pocket parks. And all of those things are included. There's also a walking trail around the pond, and then they've got those sidewalks throughout the development for circulation. For the zoning, it's R3 MF, which is medium high density multifamily. The setbacks were not reduced with the PUD. The PUD basically just allowed them to have all of those units on one lot instead of all of them being on their own lot. There are some existing structures on site, including 2 buildings and a shed. In addition, there is a well on site. All of that's to be removed with this development, and they'll have to provide the abatement documents for the well. For the utilities, there's water and sewer available along Kimmel Road. The note in my report says that Centerton Utilities is still doing their review. They finished it at 3 p.m. today, and they had no comments, so you guys could ignore that. For the wetlands and floodplain, there is an existing body of water on the site. For the wetland study, the wetlands are not jurisdictional. Okay, so for their access and adjacent street agreement, the internal roads, this is a proposed gated community, so all internal streets are private and our minimum width of 24 feet, including the curb and gutter. Where there's parallel parking proposed, that matches our 30 feet back of curb local road section. There are 5 feet sidewalk provided throughout the development for pedestrian circulation. And then Diane, if you can go back to the site plan, there are a few alleys instead of full road sections. Those are 24 foot wide to allow for 2-way traffic. And that's road D, E, and F.
Yeah.
It ended up being, yeah, a road because of fire, and those middle clusters right there, they don't have a full road. They're just the alleys, so that's why those alleys are so wide. So yeah, so it was to allow the 2-way traffic and to meet fire code so that we didn't end up with parking conflicts and then, you know, having a fire truck that can't get through there. So for Kimmel Road is designated as a major collector with a planned right-of-way of 80 feet. This development will dedicate 40 feet of right-of-way from the section line, which is also the property line, to meet the master street plan requirements. McKissick Springs Loop, which is a 12-foot trail, is planned along Kimmel Road. This development will build the 12-foot trail along their property frontage. A street light will be provided at the entrance. And the developer has requested a fee in lieu of all of their road improvements, including the road widening, the curb and gutter, and the striping. That fee in lieu is in your packet for you guys, and it comes out to $51,607.23. So due to the length of the frontage of this development, which is only 221 feet, the Public Works Director and City Engineer recommended that the developer propose a fee in lieu. The estimate provided has been approved by both the City Engineer and Public Works Director, and is recommended for approval by the Planning Commission. There are street trees proposed along Kimmel Road outside of the right-of-way. However, the Public Works Director stated that because cars will have to stop further back at the entrance to avoid stopping on top of that 12-foot trail, the site triangle requirements prohibit street trees from being planted along Kimmel Road at this time. They've stated that when Kimmel Road is improved in that area, the Public Works Department will plant trees along the road. So staff has approved the adjacent street agreement and recommends it for approval by the Planning Commission, contingent on that one minor comment being noted in the adjacent street agreement that there won't be trees planted now, but the Public Works Department will plant them later. For drainage, there is one retention pond proposed in this development. The bottom elevation is 1,247 feet and a normal water surface elevation of 1,051 feet, resulting in a water depth of 4 feet. The top of the pond is 1,258 feet, resulting in a total depth of 11 feet. There is a 4-foot black vinyl chain link fence around the pond as approved during the PUD. And the city engineer has approved the drainage as proposed. For the lighting, there are street lights proposed throughout the development to light the streets, and there is decorative lighting along the walking paths and within the pocket parks. The photometric plan has been approved by staff. For the landscaping, they did provide a tree preservation plan. However, no trees will be put with the development. So per the applicant, based on the geotechnical report, the existing soils on site are poor quality, and at least 2 feet of the site will have to be removed. The elevation difference exists between existing and proposed varies around the site, meaning saving trees would create the potential to impair both site drainage and tree condition. So they will not be keeping any trees on site, but they'll be planting quite a few. If you look at the landscaping plan. Per the PED agreement, there had to be trees within the pocket parks. So there's an exhibit that Diane Scott pulled up, Dropbox, but not in your packet. That shows those trees within the pocket parks. And as I already stated, there were street trees proposed along Kimmel Road, but if the conflict with site triangles, they won't be able to be planted at this time. There are lots of interior trees proposed throughout the development along the roadways as required by the PED. For the landscape screening, you guys required that there be trees along the east and south property lines. That's where the multifamily housings are. So they do have those trees shown on site. They are pretty close to a water line. So the Centerton Utilities Director had to approve the species and how far away it was from the water line, and they have approved that. For parking, 138 of the units have 2 covered and 2 uncovered parking spaces. 47 parallel parking spaces are provided along the street for the clubhouse and additional visitor parking. And then there's 69 perpendicular parking spaces for the 1-bedroom cottages on the south side of the development and for the dog park. Those parking, that proposed parking meets the PUD requirement. Due to the number of units proposed and this development only having 1 access, this development will be sprinkled. This development is proposed to have 3 phases, with phase 1 being 65 units, phase 2 being 46 units, and phase 3 being 60 units. There is a sign proposed along Kimmel Road that will have to be permitted by Public Works. And there are very minor comments remaining on the plans. So we recommend that all approval be made contingent on addressing the remainder staff comments, and it's just mostly labeling and just clarifying a few areas.
So can we move, since you guys are not planting the street trees, can we move that as a line item expense for later? Since they were already gonna do them.
That was if I may, that was a comment that we got, I don't know, Caleb, maybe today or yesterday that was, and we haven't had a chance to discuss it, but we're happy to update the fee in lieu to just calculate what that price will be for the trees and just update that and resubmit it to include that.
Thank you.
Are you done, Kim?
Yes.
I got a couple more for you, sir. Being a private kind of development and being gated, I don't see any mention of a fence. I assume you're gonna perimeter the entire.
Yes, there is fencing on the perimeter. There will be gates at it was, I believe, the request of the city to have an access point on the south side that is gated, that will be gated, and then that will obviously be on Kimmel, will be a motorized gate, but the gates that will be there on the south side and any other access point that I call it a stub out will be just permanent gating on that. And then I think to give you some idea of how the units face each other, it was intentional that all the units are rear loading. So when you see units with the green space, the pocket parks or the muses, those are the fronts, the front porches. You walk out onto a green space from the front of your house instead of walking and walking out to your garage or whatever. So that was intentional, to provide the connectivity through the neighborhood.
Do you know the fencing material for the perimeter?
We don't yet. Happy to discuss what that will be. I think we're probably either gonna have, I think it's landscaping requirement on the east side, if that's right. So that would be the landscape buffer on the east side. And I'm assuming, I anticipate it would be probably 6 foot wide, 6 foot privacy fencing, wood privacy.
And then on the southern, on that stub, we're subbing it to the property line. It's a private road. Is that for future connection or?
That's what it was intended for.
And also fire.
And fire access at some point, when this area builds out eventually, right, there will be one of the things, we're obviously sprinkling the entire site because we have one ingress egress on the site. we were willing to provide additional access points to help assist down the road when the area around us develops, whenever that may be. Provide a more emergency access, even though we are sprinkling
Not necessarily a public street connection in the.
No, but the streets were in essence, they're private, but I think we meet all the public specs from a design standard. So if there was a time where it did, the city approached us, or ownership to take over as public streets, I think that is an option down the road. So we did provide that connectivity for that as well.
Okay, that building and that, I had to read the plans there to figure out what building is that right
The
there?
white building,
Yeah.
that is the leasing office.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
To the page.
So that is the chicken houses along Kimmel Road.
Okay.
Right there, our property line does not, it kind of has the boot at the top and then the chicken houses, if you're driving along Kimmel Road to the east of our entrance, that's what that is. That's not our property.
So I'm just throwing this out here as a discussion point, but I assume that probably won't last too long, the chicken house. I was just thinking about landscaping along that northern property line right there. Seems to be accessible, I think there's a water line in there, but just throwing that out there because eventually I think it will be visible from the right of way and who knows what's gonna go in there, but I don't know what y'all think about that. I think we had one on that northeast corner. There's one tree there. I'm gonna say I think you meet all the requirements, but you might think about that for those residents. Right?
Sure, and we're not opposed to adding that down the road right now. Obviously, there's several trees that I think we have to cut down to get to the density that we're at now.
You got a lot of site prep.
We have a lot of site prep to make this happen. This is a year and a half, year plus process of working with the city and graciously working with the city. They're probably sick of me coming to their office to have meetings, but this is I hope it comes through that there was a lot of collaboration that went into this.
It does. It's a really good, clean set of plans, and I appreciate all the time and effort y'all put into that to present.
So I have to thank too, we have our team, Bowman, the engineering team, and then Anthony Varsity from BSB, the architects are also on Zoom right now. So if you do have any specific questions, I know they're happy to answer them, but they deserve a lot of credit as well.
Looks great. It's a really good smoke. That's all I had.
Question I have is, I'm not seeing the dumpster pad for like a clubhouse. Are you gonna?
I think we are planning on using just rollaway trash cans for all sites for the clubhouse as well as the units.
And back to Joey's point where Joey was talking about, I understand that's just gonna be a wood fence.
Correct.
Okay, let's make sure I understand.
Sure.
So it's gonna be.
Yeah, we don't mind to do either, if we can agree to do either landscape buffering or fencing, we're fine with either. If we can work that, make sure the species works for the water line and all that, we can work through that.
It stood out to me on the planning plan because it was kind of just a bare spot and I was just bringing it up.
Sure, no problem.
Have you thought through the whole trash thing now that you mention it?
We have, yes, we debated that. I mean,
340 trash cans.
It is, it's,
Put a number out there.
3 foot, when you said 3 feet.
Yeah, 340.
You got regular and you got recycling.
Oh, okay, yes,
You
okay.
got 170 units.
Sure, no, that makes sense. We will have a property management team, obviously, where it's a single owned site. It will be critical that trash cans are pulled in within 24 hours. The site obviously has an on-site leasing office, so the management team will be on site to make sure that is taken care of, and the site continues to look clean.
So. Well done on everything. Along Kimmel Road, there was a lot, there's a lot of information here. What is gonna happen to their section of Kimmel Road?
So with what's going on currently, the road is right where he has that meandering line where it gets real wide out. So if we wind it there now, it's not gonna function. It's probably gonna be torn apart. So when the property's near him, to where if the property to the east of him develops, I should take it all the way to Daisy. We can get that full side widened the way it needs to. it'd be the same thing that we're doing with Feathers on the other side, is where we will attribute this fee in lieu to that contractor down to do the additional work to extend it the extra. What is it, 250 feet?
So if you look at this map, the whole west side, that's been developed, but he's in a little pocket where nothing's developed around him yet. So it doesn't make sense to only improve 200 feet of road. So we'll just get a fee in lieu, and then when that widens, that money will be applied to it.
But he is gonna do the sidewalk.
Yes, we are getting the trail.
We are,
It's in the right-
we are,
Right spot.
we are doing the trail.
Okay. That's good, because Ben would ask for that if you didn't do it, so.
We're happy to do
You're good,
that.
you're good with all that?
Yeah, I mean, if we
Really not much more.
now, it's not gonna stand up, and it's gonna actually cause more issues. 'Cause people are gonna be like, why is this wider?
Yeah, as much as I like to get road improvements when they should happen, I don't think this one makes sense.
We rarely want to take the fee in lieu, but here it actually makes more sense than anything else.
And I love the private gate and everything you're doing there. I love all that. Traffic, when you get a private gate, gates gotta open, gates gotta close, people gotta wait. It's a high traffic road.
Sure.
Is there, how did y'all think through that, or did you think through that?
We did. I mean, we were quizzed pretty hard when we were looking at this with the PUD and the rezoning at the time and the traffic flow as it sits. And as you can see, we do have a left turn and a right turn lane there for exiting, but then coming in, we think that flow of traffic, 171 units. We did a study on, we talked about how many people work from home, kind of the staggering of how people leave in and out of a community. We feel like it's adequate.
It looks like you have about 175 feet of stacking to get to that gate from the road.
Oh.
You see that? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's,
I was looking, okay,
I thought the same thing at first, but they set it well back into the site.
okay. Great, thank you.
Yeah, the intention of the gate is to stop access before we call it kind of the public point, which is the leasing office itself. So people will be able to come into the leasing office without having to go into the gate. So that should hopefully provide a little bit of ample room for traffic to flow there before they get to the gate. The gate's not actually on, right on Kimmel, as far as that goes.
So with it being sprinklered, what responsibility is there for you?
So the sprinkler system that they're putting in is an integrated inline. It's residential only. So if they have a sprinkler head go off, we will never know until somebody calls us. It's not like here, as soon as water starts flowing, we get dispatched. This is a totally different system. It's a lot smaller. It's a lot cheaper, and there is a cost to it, but it was the best option we had.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Is that basically required because there's just one entrance?
Well, all townhomes have to have sprinkler systems in our city.
Over half our site was going to have to be sprinkled anyways, so it might as well with the ingress egress, it was kind of a moot point, but we thought fire safety with what we intend, there will likely be families here obviously as well, so why not go ahead and then sprinkle the additional 60 units.
The exterior of all of it, whether it's a detached or attached, is all it's similar.
Very, very similar. Yes, absolutely. And we'll make sure that you get a copy of they've been submitted, the architectural plans, but it is a mixture of masonry, brick, and fiber cement or hardy. So those are the materials that are being used on the exteriors.
Oh, that's the 13R.
13D circuit.
Any other questions or comments from any of the commissioners?
Thank you.
So this isn't so much a.
We just need-
Microphone, please.
We just need to know your name and your address for the record.
I'm Cindy Berry. I live at 981 Osage View Drive, just over by the concrete factory subdivision there. And so I live off of Horse Pond Road in Kimmel, okay? And my question is, I have one of the larger houses around here. It's not huge by any means because most of the houses around here are very small, right? Or on the smaller side. So I do wonder is, I know this has already been zoned, this is already in the works, right? I do wonder whether it's leased or purchase, you can purchase or lease. That's a question for you.
It's lease only. It's a single plat. It's a rental subdivision. So it's just a single plat that we have an agreement that we can't subdivide again.
Thank you. So there's a lot of transitional housing, in the area around Kimmel Road, up and down Kimmel Road. I do worry about property values, right? I don't understand why there's been so many multifamily and really, really small homes built in the area. Maybe you can't get the developers in. But Kimmel Road is a mess. I'm just gonna say, the traffic there is awful. And you start adding 170 more units and 2 or 3 people per these homes or maybe more. It's a real mess. There's not enough grocery stores around here to support the people around here. There's a lot of things that haven't happened that really need to happen to support this mass growth of growth of the smaller homes, smaller lots, multifamily homes, that just hasn't been here. That part really, that part is very disturbing to me, right, as a homeowner.
So when we redid our master plan for the city, which we're getting ready to update, I think it's a little discussion later. But when we redid it, there were things that we focused on, and one of those was mixed use and also in conjunction with more affordable housing. And so those were some of the things that we did.
Play on Kimmel Road, okay? I mean, that's what I can.
So
It's all market driven, really. We don't tell people where to go develop, or what product they can build only.
So when you zone it, you go talk to the developers ahead of time, so okay, so you did make those decisions.
So they come to us.
So, and you're welcome to look at the plan. Again, it was published in.
I know what the plan is.
So it was published with actually mixed across the entire city with a mixture of light commercial.
What are you doing?
In.
I understand. I'm not questioning your plan. It's already there. It's in stone, right? And maybe you adjust it here and there. All right, but I'm questioning, bringing in all these people and not having the infrastructure there to support it, not having the grocery stores there to support it. It's a mess. I mean, try to go to the grocery store, the Walmart grocery store, and try to get out of there, right, on an afternoon. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I'm saying, as we bring in more of these things, we're just adding to the problem without fixing, some of the infrastructure that needs to be fixed. So I am concerned.
Part of it is we put a plan together, and then if it's feasible, it's developed. I mean, I'm just trying to explain.
What you're addressing, I know you have a plan,
And
but how are you, taking into account, what's happening, to this area with a massive amount of people here and the roads that don't support it?
I'll say it again, the infrastructure comes with development. It's not.
I mean, it's in this development, but it has no impact on Kimmel Road.
I mean, they're paying for their portion of Kimmel Road.
Add more traffic to Kimmel Road.
Correct.
Try to turn left on Kimmel Road.
Are you aware of the greenhouse plan that's in place?
When is it gonna happen?
You'll have to talk to staff, but it's
Happen before these people come in, or we're just gonna have to live with, mass growth without the roads being there.
what do you propose?
Do something different. Don't bring in all the, these very large developments, right? Or put them somewhere else that has the road systems to support it. Until you can build the infrastructure. That's what I propose. I know I'm going to have zero impact on that, but it is frustrating.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I have to say.
Any other questions or comments from staff or the commissioners in regards to the PUD development? If they're not, then I would entertain a motion. The only adjustment, I believe, will be that the adjacent street agreement will be adjusted with the free costs that's involved. And so with that, I would entertain a motion for development 2310, the Flyway Crossing. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
One question, sorry. She brought up a point that I was wanting to touch on. Did we look at a traffic study for this? We did. what were the results? Obviously. I don't know if that's a planning question or an Alan question. Or both.
So I looked at it 10 months ago. I'm not gonna give you an answer.
What?
I looked at that 10 months ago.
I gotcha. Obviously, the study didn't warrant any.
Nothing more than what Kimmel Road will be is with a 3-lane road. To add a right turn lane in was not warranted. To be
Oh, like-
plus a right turn, is what a lot of that was going to be. Again, if and when any of that develops around them, there are stubs for. Probably like, I know like with West End, West Ridge. The other gated community, they have 2 extra gates. Depending on how that goes. What those tattoo, if they do. I know they'll require at least something for fire access, whether they're actually egress access or not for any residents. But what they have, with the access they have and everything they have proposed. Really the main component of it would have been adding the additional right turn lane. And wasn't warranted.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
With that, I'll make a motion to approve development 2310 Flyway Crossing at Centerton. With the one adjustment to add the street trees to the adjacent street agreement.
That's the preliminary plans and the adjacent street agreement.
This is for the plans and the adjacent street agreement.
Be contingent on staff comments and the fee.
The adjustment.
You got
Make it contingent upon staff staff, outstanding staff comments. And there was one more thing I didn't hear.
the fee in lieu also.
With the adjustment for the trees.
Yeah. And the adjustment for the trees and the fee and.
Second.
Thank you, Ben.
Motion and a second. Is anyone opposed? Thanks, Chris. Good luck. Under announcements, there is a council meeting on 7/9. The next planning commission meeting is 7/16. Can't make it, let us know. And there's a land use work session on for 10 to discuss that or.
Yeah, good. After we adjourn this meeting, I will give you an update on the Title 15. Late this afternoon, we received a clean draft. Would like for me to send it to all to look at. I know Joey, just to get his fingers on that. So I'll send it out to the commission so y'all can start looking at it. There were a couple of things that they are still looking at that they said that hasn't addressed. We'll get that
Can
to
you let us know those outstanding items?
You're welcome.
So one thing I'd like to make the request of for just more additional information is like for industrial and commercial areas, like how much are we acreage wise? Like industrial looks like you've got.
I think it's in there.
I'm not,
Cause I remember we had the one lot split and they were bringing up, like hard facts on the amount of acreage that was proposed. I don't know if they measured that, but I thought it was in there.
I just want to make sure we have that information.
He's talking about,
It looks like the industrial park on this map.
About Title 15.
no, he's talking about land use.
Sorry, he moved on.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Hold on.
All right,
Stand by, Tony.
we're done. Okay, but that's gonna be a work session.
Right.
That we'll just put the tables together. We'll lay out the. We've got some paper copies, we can draw on them, sticky note.
Crayons.
Get your direction from principal and how you want to.
What's the intent? Just an update? Based on what we've been seeing?
Use
Yeah.
what you've been seeing, what you think fits, doesn't work. And just because it's been brought up multiple times, especially with the council. We need to look at our land use plan, so.
Are they coming?
No, it's happening right now that we just want to get.
Oh, we're doing it right now. Sweet.
After we adjourn this meeting.
So. Okay, we're later on, but I know there's some other.
It'll be short, just some
highlight the areas where we have. And then staff can work on them.
But I do know there's some other local cities that are also going through some of theirs. Is there a way that y'all can get any guidance, I'll call it, direction, anything they might be able to tell you that they're thinking about or what they're doing that we may not be thinking about? Would they share that with you? I know some of them are just starting, but is that something that could, I mean, I don't know what kind of interaction you have with them or.
Well, we can always ask them. I know Bentonville, I mean, they just recently started theirs, so I don't know. I'm into theirs.
They probably have some stuff they can share, but I think on the edges, we want to make sure we match up and.
We always coordinate with the other cities on, well, you know, look at what they have.
Okay.
So once we get this land use worked through, we're gonna follow up with the revised master street plan and make sure the master street plan matches.
They kind of have to go together, just because you don't put industrial road or industrial properties on collectors and all that. That's your arterial roads are your truck traffic. So where we don't want trucks, if they're arterial now, take them off. But if we put industrial on it, depending where they're at, they need to be arterial.
Example. Well, and I guess we can talk about this, but Seba Road, it's designated as an arterial where we've talked about reducing, you know, putting that back to a collector, a major collector or something. We do have the master street plan shown on the drawings so that you can.
What, do we have any info on like CIP plans or anything?
No, we do not have a CIP plan.
So you want to do that afterwards. So we're planning commission wise, we're good. Okay. Then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
We'll move.
Second. Motion and a second. Is anyone opposed? Thank you, guys. Get your coloring, get your colors out.